All right, good morning, everyone here. Welcome to our Friday webinar. Okay, so here, we're going to get started today. My name is Bernard Jeter. I'm with Insurance Advisors Direct, a full-service FMO. And what we have going on today, we are partnered with a consulting firm called Dynamic Directions. And we're going to bring you a series of best practice webinars called Power Up Your Practice. And we have an old friend who is now with Dynamic Directions here, Brandon Hegg. He was our annuity guy last year, so he moved on to bigger and better things. Now, Brandon, as you can see here, Brandon is a sales coach, consultant, certified facilitator, everything under the sun, and he is here to present our Power Up Your Practice. Brandon, my friend here, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Bernard. Hello to everyone joining us or anyone catching the replay. I'm super excited to be here. As Bernard said, I'm kind of an old friend. You may have seen me around last year, and I did take a new role, and I reached out to Bernard and said, let's do it again. Let's get more of this stuff going. So that's what we're bringing today. Real quick, look, I've been in the industry for a while, and most of my time has been spent helping agents, advisors, financial professionals figure out ways to grow. And that's why I wanted to bring this to Bernard to say, look, in the new role that I'm in, we're going to be able to bring you some webinar sessions that are best practices, totally product agnostic, totally, in many terms, industry agnostic. If you're someone that owns a business, drives a business, looking to grow your business, this stuff's going to apply to you. So I'm really excited to bring these sessions because you can apply them across the board, and it is not just one type of product or one approach. So as Bernard said, I'm with Dynamic Directions. Look, real quick, we work with a ton of top producers in the industry. Our goal is really to help financial professionals build a better life, a better practice. You can see the stats there. Basically what we're saying is we work with some of the top producers in the industry. We take what they did, we take what we coach them to do, we pick the best of the best, and we bring it to you. So as we move forward, this stuff, it's not something that we're just kind of out here saying. It's something that advisors, agents, professionals have done, and it's worked. And one of the things that I'm bringing you today is actually a key tactic that one financial advisor we work with in the course of 10 years took his practice from 200,000 to over 2 million in production. This was the key cornerstone to what he was doing. So it works. We put it in practice and we bring it to a ton of folks just like you. Take it and run with it. Before we dive in, there's 3 things I want to essentially ground us on. As we go through this, one of our key factors that influence the way that we go to market, the way that we drive our business is going to be our belief system. So a big part of what we work with professionals on is how do we get over and basically move aside self-limiting beliefs. You may notice as we go through this session that you have some self-limiting beliefs. Oh, I don't know if that'll work. I'm not sure I could do that. I've tried that before. All of that stuff is just noise that gets in your way. And what's important to remember is what you believe will drive what you do, and what you do drives your results. So if your beliefs, your behaviors are out of whack, your results are going to be. But when your beliefs are aligned, your behaviors are aligned to go ahead and capitalize on those, your results are going to follow. So we want to keep in mind when things come up that you may have a self-limiting belief, it's going to be important to recognize and acknowledge that within yourself and say, why am I letting this get in my way? So we talk about growth. That's our business, is helping financial professionals grow. We've basically centered it, funneled it down to 3 key areas of growth. Number 1 is to do more with the clients you have. Number 2 is attract new clients. And the last one is what we call quantum activity. That's your mergers, acquisitions, going out and buying practices. That's something we're not going to really get into because that's a whole nother can of worms. But doing more with your current and attracting new clients is stuff we can get to work on today. So what we're going to talk about is a referral method that works. It's easy, it's non-confrontational, And then we'll close it with, how do you then set the ball rolling in the right way when you start getting these? So as you go through, take notes, grab a couple of nuggets. I'm going to recap at the end. But the key here is to find one or two things that you can go ahead and start implementing. And I'll give you the exact formula to do it. So first and foremost, referrals. What doesn't work? Well, simply avoiding the conversation doesn't work. Many advisors, many professionals we work with, they avoid this conversation because they don't want the client to feel like they're pressured. They don't want to feel like they're going for a cash grab. There's a lot of baggage that's been built up around the referral ask. When I think we know logically the cheapest and easiest way to grow your practice is through referrals. It's just all that stuff that comes with it gets in the way. I'm going to show you a model that's going to take care of all of that. And you don't have to worry about feeling pushy, feeling like you're going for a cash grab, putting the client on the spot. This makes it simple. The second thing is a vague referral ask. You may have heard this 100 times. And Bernard, I'm just going to pretend like you're my client here. But it's, hey, Bernard, did you find this valuable? Great. What specifically did you find valuable? Excellent. Who else do you know that would find this valuable? More often than not, you're going to say, well, yeah, I'll keep you in mind. Because who else do you know is really vague. If you ask someone, who else do you know? They might say, well, I've got 1,500 friends on Facebook. I know a lot of people. One of the ways that we want to work with and help clients refer you is by narrowing that down and telling them exactly who you work with. You know, it could be a simple way of, Bernard, if I gave you 4 tickets to the Super Bowl, who are the 3 people you take? Those are the kind of people I want to meet. That's one way to do it, because you can think through, oh, yeah, I know who I would take. I'm going to show you another way that you can narrow down and really define who it is you'd like your clients to introduce you to. So that vague referral ask goes completely away. And they not only know who they should be thinking about, but they'll probably be able to picture a few people in their head right off the bat. The next 2 things that get in the way are unclear steps for the client. So something along the lines of, if they give you a name, great. You know, would you be able to call them and let them know I'm going to be calling? Things like that are really unclear, and it actually puts that onus onto the client. We want to remove that. And then again, the last thing is, well, if I give you my friend's name, what's going to happen? Are they going to get a call from you every month for the next millennium? How's this going to work? So we need to set clear expectations of, if you give me a name, if Bernard told me the name of one of his friends, I'm going to tell him exactly how I'm going to approach that friend, what it's going to look like, and when I'm going to stop. So he knows, okay, this is what it'll be. It's much less daunting and intimidating to give someone a name, because now he knows I'm not going to basically make him look bad by hounding his friends on getting in to meet with me. So where do you start? Here's what I'll tell you. First thing to do is to pick the right clients. The first step is to find out who are the clients within your practice that you want to replicate. Now, you may be early enough in your practice that you're saying, I'll take anyone and everyone. I'm just building my book. Great. That's who are the right clients, anyone and everyone. If you've been in the industry a while and you've got your book segmented, maybe you've got, you know, your Ritz level clients, your Marriott level clients, and your Fairfield Inn level clients. And you're thinking, I just want to replicate my Ritz level. Go ahead and start identifying those who you help best. What do they have in common? And then start to think about, how are you positioned to help them? What makes you special and appealing to those clients? I like to use a lot of analogies. So if I'm thinking about going out and getting new clients, I think about fishing. Seems like a really easy analogy there. Now, if I'm going out and I am approaching everyone I know, let's say I go out onto the lake and I'm fishing for bass. My options to try and catch this fish are to use a net, where I'm just casting it out there and I'm pulling in whatever comes in, or I can use a specific lure, something I know that will attract the type of fish I'm looking for. Now, if I use a net, yeah, maybe I'll get a lot of fish to come into my boat, but what will probably happen is I'll end up with fish I don't want. I'll end up completely overwhelmed trying to manage all of these fish in my boat and getting rid of the wrong ones and trying to keep the right ones. That none of those fish are going to have a great experience. Or I can use the specific type of lure designed for the fish I want. Start thinking about what makes you different and attractive to the exact types of clients that you want. So for example, preparing for onboarding those types of clients, think about what's your wow experience and who gets the wow experience. Some of your clients who are your top level clients should have a different experience than your smaller or your non-target clients. What I have found and what we found in the industry is if you really cater your practice to appeal to the right type of clients that you want, you're going to get more of those clients. If you appeal to everyone and everyone's experience is the same, you're actually going to end up attracting your mid-level client. It all tends to flow back to the middle if you haven't designed a specific experience for those types of clients. Another thing is, if you've got a specific way you work with those clients, you can scale really easy because as you get more and more of those, it's the same process, rinse, repeat. So you want to think of what's that wow experience that when someone comes on to your practice that fits your target client, they're going to say, wow. Second, develop your expertise. So maybe you specifically want to work with employees of a local company that's near you. So I'm in Minnesota and the Mayo Clinic is a huge employer here. If I wanted to start targeting employees of the Mayo Clinic, the first thing I would do is I would get their employee handbook. I would read their benefits so that I understood when someone is new, when someone has a life event, anyone employed with Mayo Clinic, I understand their benefit system inside and out, and I can help there. That makes me an expert in those benefits for those employees. So as I have more clients there, they're going to refer to me. My guy knows the whole benefits. If you want to talk to him, here's the guy. You start to position yourself as having some area of expertise. Maybe you want to start working with dentists or doctors. There's a lot of books out there that talk about the challenges, the kinds of considerations dentists, doctors, that they deal with. Start researching that so you can actually discover or know what problems or what things your clients or prospects are dealing with before they even come into the office. And maybe your expertise is working with a specific type of client, right? Maybe it's someone that's recently retired that is living in 15 miles of Shakopee, Minnesota. Start developing your expertise on what then does the newly retired client need to think about. Or maybe it's someone that's, retiring early and trying to figure out how do they manage until they get Medicare. Just identify what those clients are and what makes you the expert. And then the last one's going to be practice your approach. And this is the approach you use. We call it IPA. It's easy to remember if you're a fan of beer, right? You've got your India Pale Ale. IPA is a proven way that you can ask for more referrals. And as you can see here, it stands for improve, praise, and ask. So let's break this down. Improve. That's how you open the conversation. If you've given the client at the end of a meeting where you've provided some value, you then transition into this conversation and it sounds something like this. Bernard, you and I have been working together for the past 3 years. Honestly, one thing that I know is there's a lot of stuff that we can control and a lot of stuff we can't, especially in the market right now, inflation, underwriting. But as you and I work together, I want to make sure that I'm providing you the best experience possible in regard to the things that we can control. So I want to ask, for me and my team, is there anything that you think we could improve on to give you a better experience? That's the first part right there. And then you listen. What's going to happen is you're going to get most likely one of two things. Either your client, Bernard in my case, is going to say, no, this has been great. Good. You've just confirmed the value without having to say, was this valuable? And what also might happen is they might actually give you a couple of good ideas. The advisor I mentioned that created this, one of his clients said, you know, what'd be really fun is I've got this CPA that does like a fun fact Friday where they just record a video. That'd be cool if you did that. So he started doing that. Or maybe they'll tell you, boy, I'd really like to get newsletters, or I'd like this. Awesome, we'll do that. You'll get the answers to how you can make sure that they become a more loyal client, or they'll just tell you, no, they love it. And then the way I close it is I'll go into anything we can do to make your experience better, let the client answer. And then I say, well, I'm really committed to this, Bernard. So I want you to know, I'm going to keep asking you each time that we go through this, so that if there is ever anything, I can go ahead and make sure I'm capitalizing on it for you. By saying that, you now have let the client, Bernard, know that every time we talk, I'm going to ask what I can keep doing better. So they know you're trying to improve. They know they can always bring things to you, but it also lets them know I'm going to keep asking for referrals without saying I'm going to keep asking for referrals. You're going to keep having this conversation of what you can improve. Step 2, praise. This is where we get into what about that client makes them someone you want to replicate. And so we basically tell the client exactly who it is that we want them to introduce us to, but we do it in a way that praises them. For example, well, Bernard, if there's ever anything I can do to improve your experience, let me know. I want to tell you, I love working with you. I specifically love working with you is because you work at IAD. I love working with that company. I love getting to know more of your coworkers. You've got children that are grown. You're able to now focus on your savings. You live in that awesome neighborhood over there behind the gated fence. And finally, you're on your way to becoming a millionaire. I love working with people like that. And that's how you set it up. You can also use some humor, right? If you know something about Bernard where you've played golf with him or cards, or, you know, I love that you live in Michigan and Minnesota does this, or anything along those lines that help figure out what it is about Bernard that makes him a client you want to replicate. What company do they work at? Have they just become millionaires? Do they have children? It doesn't have to be the same for every single client. What you want to do is say, I love working with you because you take my advice. You listen when we have appointments. You're always early. Try to get things though that they could recognize in other people. Again, what company they work at, their financial status, the things that they do for fun, all of that stuff they can start to recognize in others. What neighborhood do they live in is a great one. Hey, I know you live over there on Evergreen Lane in Valley View. You're narrowing those things down so that the client continues to funnel. Instead of who else do you know, you go into and you say, these are the criteria. Now, who else do you know, Bernard, that's like you that I could get introduced to? Stop. You want to give the client time to think and respond. You've narrowed it down. And are they going to give you someone's name every time? Absolutely not. Will it take potentially months or years of having this conversation before you get a good flow of referrals? Absolutely. But do you need to get one every time? No. What we're doing here is we're turning the client's radar on. So when they notice these types of clients out in the world, they know that they can connect you. We're not going to sit here and say, great, pull out your phone. Who else is in there that I could talk to? Let's bring up LinkedIn. Let's go through who you know that I could talk. No, we're just letting them know, turning their radar on, and giving them the exact type of person you want to work with. What can we improve? Here's why I really liked working with people like you. Who else do you know that's like you that I could help. And that's it. Now, what happens if they say, no, there's no one that I really know off the top of my head, but I'll keep you top of mind. Hey, perfect. That's the most I could ask for. I'll give you a couple business cards. If anyone comes up, let me know. Otherwise, hey, I'm looking forward to our next meeting. And that's it. You just thank them for keeping you in mind. That's the most I could ask for. Feel free to shoot me an email, a text if there's anyone that you think would be, anyone you think I could help. And that's it. And then you just move on. Because every time they come in, you're going to bring this up and you're going to, what can I improve? Here's why I really like working with you. Who else do you know that I could work with? And that's it. It's low pressure. Again, if they say no one, hey, keep us in mind. That's the best I could ask for. Thanks so much. And move on. Now, what you could also do is you could add some humor if you know the clients really, really well. I have an advisor that just had a new son on Tuesday. So we were talking about this. I don't know why he was in the office, but he was, but only for a little bit today. But I said, hey, as you do your ask, add some humor into it to say like, so example, if I was in his shoes, I could say, hey, Bernard, you know, diapers aren't getting any cheaper. Who else do you know that I could help? Add something like that in, right? If you've got some humor, if you've got a way to easily ease the tension around something fun or, hey, Bernard, as you know, I'd really love to save up for a boat so I could take you fishing. Who else do you know that I could help? Little stuff like that will ease it and it makes it a lot more conversational and fun. But again, if you don't get a name, hey, keep us in mind. That's the best I could ask. Let us know if there's anyone we can help and then move on. But now what happens if you get a name? Well, now we're in a totally different position. You got to go to the next steps because where a lot of things fall off is between getting a name and converting the prospect into a client. So here's what you do. You first set the introduction. So if Bernard gave me a name, what I would do is I would say, Bernard, I really appreciate that. Here's what I found. If I just went and called your friend, it's going to seem really weird. They're going to want to know, how did I get their name? It's going to make you kind of look like you've put them in a position. So what I'd like to do is, if you'd be able to send an email to your friend, CC me on it, just saying, hey, here's my advisor. I thought he could help you out. Wanted to just introduce you. Or a text message where we're on a small group text. I'll take it offline and follow up. I just don't want them to be surprised by me calling and saying, oh, Bernard gave me your name. That just doesn't, it'll be a weird feeling for them towards you. Would that be fair to email or text? Yeah, totally. Great. When would be fair that I could follow up? I know you're busy. So if it falls through, I want to make sure that I give you enough time to get it done, but also so we don't lose the time. So it's having them send something to CC you. Most of the time, if you said, hey, when would be fair to do that? Clients will do it right there. I'll just shoot them an email now. Oh, I'll send them a text right now. What you're not doing is you're not saying, hey, I need you to go out and do this. It's, this is what you should do. Send an email or a text, CC me. And the reason you should do this is I don't want it to feel weird or put you in a position where it looks like you just handed someone's name out. So you're giving them the opportunity. You're making it about giving a better experience for them and their friend. And then you're setting a fair deadline. When would be fair to reach out to follow up with you, Bernard? Great. Next step is tell them what's going to happen. So then I would say, great. Hey, Bernard, just so you know, after you send that, I'm going to call out to Mike. If I don't get him, I'll leave him a message. I'll wait a week. I'll try again. If Mike's not calling me back after a couple of weeks, I'm just going to move on. You know, I'll put him into our newsletter so he'll get something maybe once a month in an email that just lets him know we can help if he needs it. But then I'm just going to move on. I don't want to keep bugging him if it's not something he's interested in. Does that seem okay? Great. And what I say is a couple weeks. After a couple weeks, if I don't hear from him, I'm not going to keep calling him. I'll put him into our system so he knows there's support if he needs it. Otherwise, you know, we'll move on and we won't keep calling them every couple days. Letting them know, how are you going to reach out to them? How often? When are you going to stop? And then what happens after? gives Bernard a much stronger understanding of when I give Brandon a name, when I give Brandon a prospect, what is he going to do? So now when it comes around next time, he knows I'm not signing these friends, these family up for a lifetime of phone calls from Brandon every couple of days saying, hey, let's get on the calendar. Let's get on the calendar. No, I'll try a couple of times. The key here though is make it casual. If you seem like you're making it a big deal, they're going to feel like it's more of a big deal. If you've ever seen, and unfortunately it's the best analogy I can come up with, if you've ever seen a toddler or a baby fall, they're going to sit there and they'll look at their parents first, or if they bump their head, they'll look at their parents. And if the parents go, oh my gosh, what's going on? The baby cries. And if the parents are just like, well, that must have hurt, the baby powers through. And it's because they're reading the reaction of the authority in order to judge how should they react. So if you get nervous and you're tense and you're really worried about asking for a referral or what's going to happen, the client's going to feel like this is a big deal. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Or how do I get out of this situation? It feels weird. If you're casual, hey, if you ever think of anyone, that's great. I don't need it. I'm here to help. More casual you are, the more casual it's going to feel to give you a name. That's going to be key. And hey, I'll try to reach out if I don't get them, no worries. We can always come back around another time. Don't make it a big deal. It's an everyday part of life, and the clients are going to respond much better to that. So action steps. It takes us to the end. I know we're just scratching the surface. So if you want to talk more about this, let me know. I'll put my email, phone number at the end. We're going to send a replay. I've got a couple of videos that talk through each step of this. I'll send them to Bernard so he can send them to you all as well. But remember, first step that you want to do is, and this slide repeats. So first step that you want to do is take your first action. I like to say something isn't nothing. So whether it's practicing the IPA, whether it's looking at and defining your ideal target client, start with something, because that's all it takes. 1% better throughout the course of a year is going to leave you over 300% better year over year. So take that first step. Remember, people that go through exponential success focus on the results. What's possible? What can I do? And those who don't focus on obstacles. If you're looking to grow your business, what you've been doing to get to where you are is not going to get you to where you want to be. Start thinking about some new things you can implement. Bernard and I will be back here next week talking about better questions. What's the psychology of sales? What's the biology behind decision-making? And how can you use that to ask more powerful questions with your clients? Remember, focus on your results, not your obstacles. If you had self-limiting beliefs, put yourself in the position of what could success look like and start going there. If you want to talk about this, if you want to get an email with anyone here that works with IAD, we do a free session on anything you want to talk about. Shoot me an email, shoot Bernard an email, give me a call. No cost to talk through some of this, of how you can start implementing it. But IPA is a great way to do it. And working with IAD is the best way to get introduced to it. So there we go. We had 2 acronyms right off the bat. But that's my time, Bernard. I'll turn it to you. Thank you for letting me kind of speak on your pedestal here.
Brandon, it's a pleasure, and thank you, my friend. Folks, do you have any questions for Brandon at this time? Here, let's type those in either in the Q&A or the chat. Brandon will be glad to answer your questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, like Brandon said, this is going to be a bi-weekly thing. Our next one is on how to develop and ask elite questions. Well, that one is on June 17th at 11 a.m. And we're doing these all the way up until August, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so any questions, shoot them to me. You have Brandon's contact information. And folks, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be reaching out to Brandon for some of this because I'm going to be using it in my own practice as well. So I'm in the trenches right along with you. And then actually it should work well with your life and annuity business as well as besides your Medicare business. So folks, with that, you have a great weekend. Thank you for tuning in with us. We'd be glad to see you in a couple of weeks. And again, Brandon, thank you, my friend. And folks, you have a great weekend. All right. Take care,
Awesome.
everyone.
See you guys.